Thank you for taking the time to watch this podcast. We have Maria Yue this morning. She's a senior lighting artist at Splash Damage.
Thank you, Victor, and hello again, guys. I am Maria, and I am currently working as a senior lighting artist in a UK game studio called Splash Damage. So initially, I was trained and studied fine art. Yes, it's like the least hot topic from the parents, both in Asia, I think. So I was training for filmmaking and photography, but I always interested with games. But back to 2009, when I graduated from a university, there's no way to learning video games. So I thought this like it could be a profession, but in the beginning, I thought I have to know really good computer science, math, all of those like rocket science subject, which is absolutely not true once I figured them out later. So when I came to London to study the master, I was actually choose the subject of theater and stage design. So I used to work like assistant, stage assistant, and for like lighting, dress up, like even like some of the runner job, and later I also like support myself to a CG school. So I entered a short course which lasts about 8 months in London, and I started learning software like Maya, UDK. That's like the Asian version of Unreal Engine, which we call them now. So that was like a part of fine art training plus like a little bit more on 3D software. But to be honest, when I realized I could working as a profession called video game lighting artist is actually since I played a game called Mirror's Edge. Because when I checked the credit, I saw like there is a job role called lighting artist. So instantly in my brain, I was like, wait, if they need people doing lighting in video games, all I have to learn is how to do the light in the 3D software. So that's the initial motivation, send me over to that city school and train myself with softwares. But definitely breaking the ice into video game industry is totally different than what I worked before because I worked around non-continuously 5 years, major in photography, and I was working as a freelance fashion photographer while I'm studying in London.
Great.
So that's how the entire story starts.
First, began as a fashion photographer, so you were into fashion in the, photography, and now you are totally, well, I think that those skills help you to begin with the lightning pathway that you are now.
Yeah, I think like I managed to sneak in to use the same skill because I still use those skills I learned from my uni, like all of the photography foundations. It's become really, really helpful, especially nowadays in CGI industry. The workflow is more close to how the light behaves in real life. So this job, like in game industry, regardless which discipline, I'd say most of the case, it's a skill about professional knowledge, software knowledge, and problem solving. So I think usually if we work in games in the beginning, the first thing we learn is like, first is familiar the pattern, different project, different studio, they have different order to finish the project. So for the pattern wise, it's very easy to learn because you can, nowadays the internet is so widespreading. So you could read through people's interview and you can watch like the foundations about like game tech deconstructed by technical professionals, but definitely take both tech and art skill together will make you a successful person when you land in the first job. Because nowadays I also teaching. So one thing I always like share with my student is like, do talk to people actively. Because I remember how I started my first career, like inquiring the lighting artist back then, there's not even many of them. So I just played the Mirror's Edge. I've somehow managed to find this lighting artist portfolio. It sounds a bit weird nowadays, but I literally just write like, I try to be polite with my half-broken English back then and just say, hey, I want to be you. Can I just share like how could I be you and what I need to learn? But this practitioner, like those artists, they're really nice. So the guy literally replied to me. Even till nowadays, I still haven't met him. But I would say I consider he is like one of my very first mentor.
What are the chances that a beginner without any knowledge, but innate skills and very passionate, can land a career in Unreal Engine?
So first, the software is free. There's open resource. There's open like tutorials. You don't really have to pay anything in the beginning. I think all we have to do is like figure out what you want. So you want to do environment art or lighting or animation. Certainly, you're gonna need some training at some point. But I see in the beginning, I just dive into some quick start tutorial because the Epic quick start tutorial was my favorite because to me, I only learn things when I really need it. So there are two types of lighting job in video game production in general. So sometimes we got to do cinematics. There is some intro and you do some really beauty shot. But nowadays, most of the games here heavily relies on interactive experience. So what we do is most of my work, they are not pre-rendering lighting. So I have to establish a good look. So basically working as a video game lighting artist, you're a look dev. We transfer the art direction or concept art as close as possible from the paper or the artist to paint canvas to games and make them into like an interactive. And meanwhile, we got to guarantee this game can run smoothly, whichever crazy effect has been applied or like different time of day transitions. So we need to guarantee the game running smoothly on whichever console, PC, Xbox, PlayStation. So yeah, the general responsibility as a writer is be a look dev, make stuff looking awesome, but meanwhile make sure like the frame rate or performance is friendly. So it's like, well, there are two big guys on my list and right, art director and tech director, and our job is currently the most happy.
Do you think it would be your doors would be open to out of the ordinary students that have very interesting portfolios after they take the certification, just to look at them and maybe shoot some advice?
Yeah, I'll be happy to, as long as I have the time. Because even nowadays, I like I mentioned before, I have my own Discord group, and I have my own podcast. But I do none of this motivation is for making money. So I just because, like I said, I was there for my career path, and I think this is gonna help people. And I do like some paid, like running like 6 week short workshop, but that's like a very intense training. And people knows like I only open this for people whoever wants to work like myself as a lighting artist, because this is what I do and I'm confident about that. But with the general like feedback, I'm happy to do it. Maybe I don't really able to walk them through step by step, but if people show me your portfolio and I can give like 2 or 3 sentences with the simple feedback, and if I feel something is useful, I'll be happy to share.
Great, excellent, thank you. Thank you. Now we're coming to the end of the podcast, and it would be very nice if you can just give us your take on the final view for all these people that is watching the podcast, Maria.
Yeah, I'd say if you decide to join the game industry, it's amazing, it's challenging. But I just want to share one sentence I learned from one of my major. It's like you never fail until you give up, stop trying. Yeah, so just keep doing it.